What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cab Show. NFL Week 11. Shout out to my Indianapolis Colts getting a big victory in New York, beating the trash Jets. Nothing really accomplishes anything for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, yes, we're 5-6. We're kind of in the playoff race, but we're really not. The reality is, being an Indianapolis Colts fan, is we're probably going to come up short again, and we're probably not going to make the playoffs. They play the Lions next week, who are the number one team in the NFL. It's not going to get any easier for the Colts. But Anthony Richardson, they need to start him the rest of the season. He needs to get more reps, just more repetition. He needs this stuff. He needs playing time. We do not need to fail Anthony Richardson. I do still have high hopes for Anthony Richardson. Everybody in Indy's kind of like, I don't know, he's probably a bust, this and that. But overall, man, I'm telling you, Anthony Richardson, 272 yards passing, 1 touchdown against the Jets. He's going to continue to get better. He really is. The Colts need to get a better offensive line, and they need to get better defense. That's what they need to work on. And Anthony Richardson will get better throughout time. I still believe in him. But as far as the Colts running deep this year in the playoffs, it's probably not going to happen. There's just too many competitive teams, and even if they do end up making the playoffs, they're going to get bounced the first game. So I just think it's a long shot for my Indianapolis Colts. I'm just being realistic here. I'm being a realist in realizing, man, I've seen it so many times where the Colts come out and all this hype, this and that, but when it comes down to it, the Colts haven't been relevant since Peyton Manning. That's just the reality of it. We could say Andrew Luck. We kind of failed him with a terrible offensive line, but at the end of the day, the Colts have not been relevant since the great Peyton Manning. It is what it is, and it sucks. It sucks. We haven't been good for over a decade now. It's just part of it, man. It just really sucks. But shout out to my Indianapolis Colts getting a big win on the road. And then we had a classic rivalry, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens, and the Steelers won this game. I was surprised. I went Baltimore. I thought for sure Baltimore would win this game. Lamar Jackson, a kind of a quiet game. 270 yards passing, a touchdown, and a pick. Derrick Henry had a rushing touchdown. Zay Flowers had a touchdown. But it just wasn't enough. And we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have an elite defense. And it starts with T.J. Watt. That defensive line always puts pressure on quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, no touchdowns, a pick. It's just typical Pittsburgh Steeler game. That's just what it is, man. Kind of boring, kind of just ugly. Their offense still is trash. I still think Russell Wilson is dog awful. I don't even know. I don't know how Mike Tomlin came up to the conclusion to say, yeah, bro, let's start Russell Wilson, who's already washed up, who's over here not really doing well. I just thought that's pretty crazy, but obviously Mike Tomlin knows more football than me and just a typical fan out there. Like, obviously they're winning games. Pittsburgh Steelers right now, they are 8-2, and Baltimore Ravens are 7-4. Like, nobody would have thought that preseason. Like, we would have thought Baltimore would be, like, right now, one-loss team. Like, really, but the reality is, even for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar probably will win another MVP, but at the end of the day, are the Baltimore Ravens going to the Super Bowl? That's what it comes down to, and I don't think so. I just don't think they're about that life. If you cannot beat Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, like, I don't know. You have so many losses. You lost to the Browns this year as well for the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm just being realistic for the Baltimore Ravens and realizing, yes, they're missing a piece, though. They're missing an elite receiver. I'm not saying Zay Flowers isn't that good, but they need another receiver. They need somebody like George Pickens, who's on Pittsburgh. They would thrive with George Pickens, like, to be honest with you. But I'm just looking at Pittsburgh Steelers. They have an elite defense, and that's why right now they're 8-2. Because of their defense and because of T.J. Watt and Mike Tomlin. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers getting a huge win against the rival Baltimore Ravens. And I'm looking at the Ravens and Harbaugh and saying, hey, are you guys about that life? We saw what happened last year. You guys had home field advantage, and you lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City came in your house and beat you on the road in a huge playoff game. So, like, what's going to happen this year? Is it the same story? Is it the same that we've been seeing throughout the years in Baltimore with Lamar? I just want to flip the script. I want Lamar to take off in the playoffs this year. I really do. But right now, it's not looking good for the Baltimore Ravens. And then we got the Detroit Lions beating up on the Jacksonville Jaguars 52-6. And I'm telling you right now, Detroit is legit. They're 9-1. They are the best team in the NFL. And it looks like they are the team that's going to be favored to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, look at them, dude. They are putting up points on anybody. Jared Goff, 412 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. David Montgomery, 75 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, a touchdown. Ahmad St. Brown, 161 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. That's just what the Detroit Lions do. And Dan Campbell, he's the type of coach that he plays to win the game. He doesn't play to, I'm going to make the right play, or, let's do the good football play here. No, we play to win the game. And that's why the Detroit Lions are 9-1. And arguably, Detroit Lions could be undefeated right now. Really, they should be 10-0. Their only loss comes at home against Tampa Bay in a nail-biter. And really, they did not play their best game that game. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, Detroit Lions are legit. Jacksonville, they're done. We already knew they were done by the first month of the season. Like, that, they're trash. Trevor Lawrence is washed up. He's a bust. Trevor Lawrence is a first overall pick. He's a bust in my opinion. But Detroit Lions, man, I'm telling you right now, they're the favorite. They're the favorite. They have it. They have the tools. They have the defense. They have the run game, the best running back duo, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They have it, man. And I'm telling you right now, with Dan Campbell, they have them fired up. And I'm just saying right now, the Detroit Lions are my team to win it. I'd love to see it happen. Jamison Williams, he had 124 yards receiving and a touchdown. Shout out to Jamison Williams out here balling, straight balling. And I'm telling you, Detroit Lions, they're going to run deep this year. I love them. Shout out to Dan Campbell, the Detroit Lions. Let's go! And then we got the LA Rams going into New England and beating the Patriots 28-22. This was a relatively close game, but Matthew Stafford was the difference here. 295 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. You know, you had Puka Nacua, 2 touchdowns, 123 yards receiving. Cooper Kupp, 106 yards receiving with 2 tutties. So Puka had a touchdown and Cooper Kupp had 2. And it was all Rams here. I knew the Rams would win. The Rams are 5-5 right now. They're like in the middle. And I'm looking at Sean McVay and company. I'm saying, hey, you guys can turn your season around right now. You can still make the playoffs. There's still a chance. There really is. So shout out to the LA Rams getting a huge win on the road in New England. And then we got the New Orleans Saints versus the Cleveland Browns. The Saints won this game easy. I had the Saints all the way, 35-14. Why? Because they're playing the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is 2-8 this year. They are 2-8. They are complete garbage. Even though Jameis Winston had a pretty good game. 395 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Kind of went crazy for Jameis, to be honest with you. Jerry Jeudy, 142 yards receiving and a touchdown. You had Elijah Moore, 66 yards receiving and a touchdown. I mean, yeah, that's good, but it was all Saints here. And I knew the Saints would win, man. And Derek Carr, 2 touchdowns. Taysom Hill had 3 touchdowns, went crazy. Taysom Hill put up 46 fantasy points in one of my leagues. Just went insane. Taysom Hill is a dog. Shout out to the Saints, man. They are 4-7, and it's going to be a long shot for the Saints to make the playoffs. They're going to have to win out, and a lot to happen for them to make the playoffs this year. But who knows? You never know. But shout out to the Saints getting a big win at home. And then we got the Minnesota Vikings going into Tennessee, winning 23-13. Really kind of was lopsided, though. Was it like, Minnesota Vikings are the best team in the NFL? No. Minnesota Vikings will not run deep in the playoffs this year. I'm telling you that. Sam Darnold, 2 touchdowns, 246 yards passing this game. But you guys are playing Tennessee Titans who are 2-8. This game doesn't really mean much to me. Doesn't say anything about the Minnesota Vikings. Jordan Addison had a touchdown. Cam Akers had a touchdown. But other than that, it's just kind of like Sam Darnold. Are you guys really riding his wave to win you the Super Bowl this year? It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Minnesota Vikings fans. It's just not going to happen this year. Even though Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the league, it's just not going to happen with Sam Darnold. I'm sorry. Sam Darnold, he's a good quarterback, but he's not the type of quarterback to lead you to the Super Bowl. It's just not going to happen. But shout out to the Minnesota Vikings getting a win on the road. Not a huge win, but a good win on the road against a trash opponent. And then we got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Miami Dolphins. I had Miami Dolphins all the way. Tua is back. Tua had 288 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. A-Chain had a touchdown. Jonnu Smith, who I got off waivers in my fantasy league, he had 101 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns as a tight end. That is crazy. That's insane. Shout out to Smith, man, went crazy. Tyreek Hill had 61 yards receiving and a touchdown. And it was all Miami. Miami's 4-6, and Miami can still win out and make the playoffs, which is pretty crazy how their season started, right? From the Tyreek Hill situation with the Miami-Dade, please, from Tua getting hurt again, looking like a broken vegetable out there, then coming back, and they're starting to win games again. So I think the Miami Dolphins, they know if they win out and they continue to win, they have a chance to make the playoffs this year. And Tua and company, man, and Tyreek Hill, they are a dangerous team, and they can beat anybody when healthy, when they're playing nice. Shout out to the Miami Dolphins getting a big win. And then we got the Green Bay Packers going into Chicago and winning 20-19. It's crazy. The Packers blocked the field goal as time expired to win the game. Literally, it's 19-20. All the Chicago Bears have to do is hit a game-winning field goal on Green Bay, but Green Bay said no. They blocked the kick, and they won the game from that one play right there. It was crazy. Jordan Love had an okay game. 1 touchdown, 1 pick, not the best. Josh Jacobs finally scored a touchdown, but, it really was a lopsided victory for Green Bay. I'm looking at Green Bay and saying, yeah, they could be any team in the NFL when they're playing their best game ever, but at the same time, I'm worried about Green Bay. They don't have a consistent run game, and their secondary is kind of suspect. So I'm looking at Green Bay and saying, hey, look, are you guys going to win the Super Bowl this year? And I doubt it, but with Jordan Love, the way he's playing, and the Packers right now, they're looking nice. They can beat anybody. They have a great team. But however, are they going to beat a team like the Detroit Lions in the playoffs? No, it's not going to happen. But shout out to the Green Bay Packers on the road in Chicago, blocking the game-winning field goal, man, to win the game. It's just what you want as a Packer, as a Green Bay Packer fan. That's what you want to see. Shout out to the Green Bay Packers beating the rival Chicago Bears. And then we got the Atlanta Falcons going in to Denver to play the Broncos, and the Broncos ran right through them, 38-6. This was a lopsided victory. I was kind of surprised, really. Atlanta's 6-5 right now, but I thought Atlanta would put up a competitive game. You had Kirk Cousins, 173 yards passing and an interception. I told you guys about Kirk Cousins. Yes, he has his moments, but at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins is an average quarterback at best. Michael Penix Jr. was 2 for 4, 24 yards passing this game. Got some clock here. It's going to be interesting to see how that develops in the future in Atlanta. I do think Michael Penix Jr. will get some clock in the future. Absolutely. But as far as Kirk Cousins goes, I've always been, a realist with Kirk Cousins, dude. He's not that good. He's kind of trash, honestly, dude. Like, you have so much talent there in Atlanta, and you guys are 6-5 right now. Like, that tells me everything I need to know. Bo Nix, 370 yards passing, 307 yards passing with 4 touchdowns. 4 tutties. Shout out to Bo Nix, man, straight balling right now. Javonte Williams had a touchdown. Amazing. And then you had Humphrey had a touchdown. Marvin Mims Jr. had a touchdown. Troy Franklin had a touchdown. It was just a recipe for everything for Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix spent college, like 10 years in college, so he should be relatively experienced, man. I mean, Bo Nix, you were in, Oregon and Auburn for, like, years, man. Like, dude, looked like he was in college for literally a decade, bro. Like, dude, like, Bo Nix, man, like, he's freaking 24. Relatively young, but at the same time, it's like, man, bro, you're fresh in the league and you're 24 years old. You should be like 21, bro. Like, shit, like, that's crazy to me, dude. But, hey, shout out to Bo Nix, 4 touchdowns. Denver Broncos are 6-5. They're a game above 500. Sean Payton, a heck of a coach, future Hall of Famer. And I'm telling you right now, the Denver Broncos will be in the playoffs this year. And then we got the Seattle Seahawks upsetting the San Francisco 49ers in San Fran, 20-17. I was surprised about this. I really was. We saw Geno Smith have the game-winning touchdown. He ran it for like 15 yards to ice the game. Basically with like 10 seconds to go. It was crazy, and I'm really surprised. Brock Purdy had an okay game, a touchdown and a pick, just 159 yards passing. They were missing George Kittle, and that's why they lost this game, because George Kittle was out with a hamstring injury. Christian McCaffrey had 79 yards rushing. Brock Purdy had a rushing touchdown. Jawan Jennings had a touchdown, but McCaffrey still hasn't scored a touchdown in the first 2 weeks he's been back. So, like, I'm looking at that, and I'm like, holy cow, why isn't McCaffrey scoring touchdowns? And I just think, San Francisco needs to get on the ball. They're 5-5 right now. They started their season ugly with Christian McCaffrey out. All the adversity San Francisco has to go through, and I'm telling you right now, San Francisco, they're gonna have to flip the script here. You guys are 5-5. You lost in the Super Bowl again to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's just like a ripple effect. They lost to them in 2020. They lost to them last year, and I'm just saying, for the 49ers, man, they're gonna have the chip on the shoulder. George Kittle is gonna come back, and they're gonna have to flip the script here. You guys are 5-5 right now, and the talent they have with Deebo Samuel and everybody on San Francisco, I do think this could be their last shot right now. It's just like, man, like, they're going to start to lose players. Who knows? Debo's going to want to get paid more. It's crazy, man, in San Francisco right now. They're going to have to flip the script, but a huge win by Seattle on the road. Yeah, the underdog in San Francisco, which is crazy. And then we had the best game all weekend, Kansas City going into Buffalo. They lost. They took their first loss all season, 21-30, and it was all because of who? Josh Allen. He had 262 yards passing, a touchdown, and an interception. He had 55 yards rushing in that rushing touchdown to ice the game in the fourth quarter. Josh Allen put this game on my back and said, hey, if we want to beat Kansas City, not only this game, but in the playoffs, I'm going to have to play my A-plus game. Even though Josh Allen ran it, had the game-winning touchdown, I do think Josh Allen could still play better. I still think he could throw better balls down the field. Like, sometimes Josh Allen throws these questionable balls where I'm like, bro, like, you don't need to be throwing in double, triple coverage here. That's why he throws a lot of interceptions here and there. I'm looking at Josh Allen and saying, hey, bro, if you play your A-plus game, the Bills could arguably run the table and go to the Super Bowl. I'm telling you right now, they have the team to do it. They have the defense. If you're holding the Kansas City Chiefs to 21 points, I'm telling you, you guys should win that game. You really should. Patrick Mahomes, 196 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions, though. Kareem Hunt did not get in. He did not score. Xavier Worthy did score a touchdown. Noah Gray, the secondary tight end, he had 2 touchdowns. 23 yards receiving, so shout out to Noah Gray. But Kansas City came up short. I knew eventually they would take an L, and this was probably the game they would take an L. You know, the Buffalo Bills, they were favorite this game. They were favorite for a reason, man, and I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen and company, they're looking better than the Kansas City Chiefs. However, the Kansas City Chiefs are missing their star player, their star running back, Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's coming back this week or next week. That's what they need. They need him. If they want to win the Super Bowl and three-peat this year, they need Pacheco back in their lineup, 100%. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're dealing with some stuff, but hey, Kansas City, they're 9-1, dude. They're still gonna make it. They're still gonna have a shot at three-peating, the only team to ever do it, if they do it successfully. So, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, you never know, but I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are locked in. Take off Josh Allen. Let's go. And then we got the Sunday Night Football game, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the LA Chargers. The Chargers won this game. They gave up a huge lead. And yet again, the Cincinnati Bengals end up finding a way to lose a game, which they should have won this game. Joe Burrow had 3 touchdowns, 356 yards passing. Jamar Chase had 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins had a touchdown. However, it was just bad for Cincinnati. It really was. And I'm looking at Cincinnati and saying, well, Evan McPherson missed 2 field goals. You cannot miss 2. And I get it, missing 1 field goal. All right, let's make it up. He missed 2 crucial field goals where they could have went up. It was in the bag, bro. Like, Cincinnati had them tied. It should have been 30-27. It was all bad. You know, I'm not just blaming Evan McPherson, you know, for the missed field goals, but I am. Like, you need to make those field goals. Those are huge field goals you miss. And I think he missed an extra point, too. So it's just like, man, like, you got to make them. You have to in this situation. I'm looking at Cincinnati. They're 4-7 right now. I mean, they have to literally win out. And it sucks for Joe Burrow and company. They have so much talent in Cincinnati. I do think they need to fire their head coach. You know, the first drive, they didn't even go to their best player, Jamar Chase. The first drive, you need to go to your best player, give it the ball to your best player. They didn't do it till the second drive. I'm talking the first drive, the opening drive. You need to score a touchdown. They don't even throw the ball to Jamar Chase. And I'm looking at it like, are you serious? Are you serious? Your best player on the team, you don't give him the ball in the first drive. You know, fire the coach. The head coach needs to be fired in Cincinnati. They have way too much talent to be 4-7 right now. And then we look at Justin Herbert and the Chargers. They're 7-3. Justin Herbert, 2 touchdowns, 297 yards passing. Dobbins had 2 touchdowns. It was just Quentin Johnson had a touchdown. It was all Chargers. Even though Chargers gave up this huge lead, I thought Cincinnati really lost them this game. Cincinnati stormed back. They lost another close game. They need to fire their head coach in Cincinnati, but shout out to Harbaugh and the Chargers. They are 7-3 right now. They're looking nice. I'm telling you, man, the Chargers will make the playoffs. They're going to make some noise. I cannot wait. And then we got the Monday Night Football game, the Houston Texans versus the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going Texans. Nico Collins is back in the lineup. It's going to be all Texans. You know, the Dallas Cowboys, they're all prima donnas. They suck. They're trash. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. You guys suck. Jerry Jones, sell the organization, please. You know, do them a favor in Dallas because you guys aren't even going to make the playoffs this year. And Dak Prescott is Tony Romo 2.0. He's trash. What a weekend it was for the NFL. Shout out to my Indianapolis Colts. And the best team this year is the Detroit Lions, led by head coach Dan Campbell. Shout out to Detroit. It's the Cloud with Cavs show. Let's go!